what do you say to the criticism about your comment about sending sons and daughters of South Carolina to the Middle East?
Well, I think they just cut it off. The point I was making, we are sending our sons and daughters to the Middle East. They're there. They've been there for a while, and they're in a fight, and we've lost 7. And my point was the Arabs should be in the fight too. And I was trying to tell people, I'm going to South Carolina supporting this effort to protect the American homeland. And when I hear of Arab country, we're not going to get involved, it really pisses me off. So to all those who wonder about sending sons and daughters, they're there. They've been there. They're there protecting you. And how can you be for Trump's war and not be for the troops who are fighting it? You know, the people who are coming after me don't have the guts to come after Trump. President Trump has activated the military there and at home to go to the Mideast to crush a regime that is hell-bent on a nuclear weapon, will destroy Israel and us. So get real here. Get your head out of the sand. These people mean it when they say death to America, death to Israel. I talked to President Trump last night. He believes that we were just weeks, not even months away from a nuclear breakout. And that story is going to be told. We now know that they told Whitcoff and Kushner, the Iranians, they had 460 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium. To get to 90% is less than a month, and you can make 10 bombs. So to all the people who think Iran's not a threat and we shouldn't be involved in suppressing that threat, you're wrong. You don't understand this regime. You're in denial. These people would use a nuclear weapon. They had one. They were trying to get one. After we bombed the enrichment facilities in Midnight Hammer, they went right back at trying to restart enrichment deeper. And all this is going to come out soon.
What do you say to the Americans who think this is, you guys are repeating the mistakes from Iraq, and now we're going to feel significant pain at the pump because of everything that's happening?
If you want the significant pain comes from Iran with a nuclear weapon. If you think gas prices are high now, give the Ayatollah a nuclear weapon to terrorize the region, to threaten the Straits of Hormuz. He will control gas prices forever, that regime would, if they had a nuclear capability. And I think he's a homicidal maniac. I think he would use the weapon as part of a religious agenda. So do the American people. What we're doing in Iran is necessary. It makes you safer. And the worst possible outcome to our national security is have a religious fanatic get a nuclear weapon that they could use against us or our friends in Israel. People got Hitler wrong. They didn't understand he really did want to kill all the Jews. If you don't understand this regime is hell-bent on purifying Islam, going after the Sunni world, you're missing a lot.
Senator, you mentioned
and killing us too.
You mentioned the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
Secretary Wright this morning said that the United States is not yet ready to escort vessels through the
We'll
strait.
figure it out. So look at it this way. The Iranian regime is trying to create chaos to back us off and keep them in power. The single worst thing we could do is leave this regime in power. During the negotiations that lasted for months, we offered them every form of peaceful nuclear power possible. We were literally going to pay for it, and they said no. Why do they want to enrich? That's the only way you make a bomb. They have a research reactor that produces 20% level of uranium to make medical isotopes. They've never made one medical isotope. They take that 20%, they enrich it to 60. The threshold of 60 to 90 is weeks, less than a month. And that's where they're at. So to all the people who get informed about what happened, put yourself in President Trump's shoes. If you're the commander-in-chief and your 2 negotiators tell you they seem not to be interested in a peaceful nuclear power program, and oh, by the way, they openly bragged about having enough 60% uranium to make 10 bombs, Obama and Biden would throw money at them, please don't do it. I can tell you what Trump did. He said, we're going to shut down their enrichment facilities. That's why Midnight Hammer happened.
So,
Midnight Hammer happened because they were on the verge of going from 60 to 90.
you keep talking about regime change, but we've now seen the supreme leaders, Ayatollah's son, leading the country. Can this war end if the current new supreme leader stays in power?
I've always said the regime will change by the will of the people, not us. I'm not going into, this is not Iraq. Do you see any American ground troops? I don't see a need for it. If the regime changes, it's because of the people. The regime doesn't have the ability to destroy America, make a nuclear weapon, build missiles, and support proxies.
Can the U.S. leave if this regime if the Supreme Leader stays in power?
This regime, I don't know what power he has, but I can tell you his ability, wherever he is at, to terrorize the world and America is going down, not up. And I don't see this conflict ending today. I think the mission is to make sure they cannot regenerate, that they're going to be beyond capable of building missiles to hit us, and they'll never go back to the nuclear business, and their conventional capability is going to be degraded over time, so their ability to terrorize the Straits of Hormuz. So the Ayatollah is dead, his son's in power, and I find it odd that in the Ayatollah's will he said, please don't pick him. They're deep in their bench. This is highly successful. This is the most successful military operation I've seen on a mass scale. What we've done in 11 days is beyond what I thought we could do. There are weeks more of this coming, then we'll make an assessment. The grip on power of Iran's regime will begin to crack. You see it already. IRGC guys are a lot less today than were before. The people are going to be in a position in a few weeks they don't have today. And if I were Americans, I'd be pulling for the people of Iran. The best way to change this regime is for them to do the changing.
Does the administration have a responsibility to lay out in a public setting, a public hearing, the mission that you just described to the Americans?
I think you're going to be seeing why we did Midnight Hammer, why we went back at it. I think you're going to be seeing a detailed explanation of the events. And it's hard to do all this in real time with the war going on. But I've learned so much in the last 10 days myself. I didn't know that they openly bragged about 460 kilograms. And that put Trump in a really dilemma. Do I keep negotiating and hoping that I can buy him off? Or do I end the ability to go from 60 to 90? He chose destroying the ability to go from 60 to 90. There's no way they can go to 60 to 90 anytime soon because their enrichment facilities are obliterated. But here's what's important. They were trying to regenerate. They were actually going deeper. And they were trying to create a new way of enrichment where you had no air shafts.
You think there should be public hearings here? Should there be public hearings?
I think there's going to be we're in the middle of war, but I think we need to showcase what we did and why we did it, but we're in the middle of doing it. But it's very important for me to tell people back home, the Americans over there have to be over there to prevent the Ayatollah from getting a nuclear weapon, and thank God they were. And the goal is, it's not when it ends, it's what you leave behind. It's like Afghanistan. It's not when we pull out, it's what we left behind. And we got that wrong. So when it comes to Iran, whenever the end date is, we've got to be able to say that that regime or any semblance of that regime can never do the things that they were going to do before. And my hope is the conditions of weakening and crippling the regime will empower the people.